What's going on, guys? So today's video is going to be my response to probably the most commonly critiqued aspect of my channel in terms of comments and emails, and even on forums. And those are all related to my incredibly conservative numbers when it comes to towing and towing safety. And I hope by the time you're done watching this video, you'll realize that my numbers aren't actually conservative. They're more accurate and aligned with even what the manufacturers believe is safe towing. So guys, this is going to be a really interesting video for you to watch. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Alright guys, so this is just a warning. This is the most common and probably beaten to death topic I've done rants on my channel, and it's still probably the most criticized topic about my channel. And you know, people talk about this in forums, they talk about it on other channels, they ask other folks questions about it, which is completely justified, and it's absolutely a topic that requires, I think, more clarification and constant clarification. And that is pretty much everything related to how I like to explain towing safety when it comes to a pickup truck or an SUV hauling a trailer, whether it be a travel trailer or whether it be a fifth wheel RV specifically. Now, there are so many folks who just, I don't think, have a really good understanding of all the different aspects that really play a role whenever you're towing an RV. And RVs tend to be entirely different than other types of trailers you might tow. And this is something I've brought up time and time again. I think sometimes people see a number like 14,000 pounds and they're like, hey, I'm gonna go find a 14,000 pound travel trailer, hook it up to the back, and I'm safe. Not understanding that all trailers are different. Right, and it's all, you gotta account for options, people, cargo. It all comes into play. Absolutely. And I always tell consumers, before you purchase a truck to pull a RV, make sure you know what RV you're getting. That way you're not going to have to compromise your RV based on the fact you didn't get enough truck. But it still is, again, a very common question. And that is, well, if a truck says it has a towing capacity of 12,000 pounds by the manufacturer of that truck, why can't I go out and tow a 12,000 pound travel trailer? With 1,490 pounds worth of payload capacity, this is what we were talking about earlier. You can't just hitch up a large travel trailer behind this and assume because the travel trailer is less than 13,500 pounds that the capacity of the truck is enough to handle the hitch weight as well as all the people and supplies you put in here, right? Family of four sitting in this truck is going to weigh roughly 500-600 pounds easily. It might go all the way up to 700-800 pounds. Let's say you throw a generator in the back, that could be 150 pounds, right? You throw camping gear, bicycles, all that other stuff in the back, you could easily be at the 700, 800, 900 pound mark. Plus, you throw a hitch on the back. Hitches aren't light, 110 pounds in a hitch. Even a weight distribution hitch, even though it'll transfer load, it doesn't make the load disappear, it simply transfers it to the front of the truck. So it's still taking cargo capacity away from this number. So at the end of the day, you might be at about 900 pounds worth of cargo and weight, leaving you roughly 590 pounds worth of tongue weight. Now, if it's just a couple, right, you know, two people in the truck, not much supplies in the back, well, that's going to dramatically increase the size of trailer you can haul behind the truck because you're not taking nearly as much weight away from this payload number. So I just wanted to bring that up. And do you agree with my assessment? Absolutely. Some folks will even go as far as to say they've done the math and they realize that, let's just say 10% of the tongue weight might transfer to the back of their pickup truck. And let's just say they don't load it up to 12,000 pounds. Let's just actually say it has a dry weight of 10,000 pounds. That leaves roughly 2,000 pounds for cargo and whatever you plan on bringing in the trailer with you. Well, let's say you load the trailer up with 500 pounds. Let's say you're really, really light in terms of what you bring with you, and you might have 500 pounds worth of stuff on your trailer. You don't travel with your tanks full. You don't travel in a way that is gonna, you know, cause any risk of your trailer being at its maximum towing configuration. All right, so now you have 10,500 pounds worth of trailer weight. Your gross vehicle weight of the trailer is 10,500 pounds loaded up the way you might load it up. Now, conservatively speaking, let's say we've made sure that that weight is balanced pretty evenly throughout the trailer and you don't have it all up front, so you're not adding 500 pounds worth of tongue weight to your trailer, but let's say you've spread it out over the trailer. And let's just say that you have that magical 10% tongue weight that's transferring from your trailer to your truck. So now we're at that 1,050 pound mark of tongue weight that's actually transferring to the back of your pickup truck. And we're talking about a travel trailer right now. So a lot of folks will say, well, shoot, I have an 1,800 pound maximum cargo capacity on my truck. That is actually a pretty high maximum cargo capacity for a half-ton truck. In most cases, it tends to be between about 1,300 and 1,600 pounds, but let's just say 1,800 pounds. And you're gonna have roughly 1,050 pounds of that gone just because of the tongue weight of your trailer. So that's gonna leave you 750 pounds worth of cargo capacity remaining on the back of your truck. Now, a couple things that are slightly off base but worth considering is the fact that half-ton trucks, even if they have a relatively high payload capacity and the spec on that truck is designed more for towing with a tow package, it won't necessarily mean that it's going to have a firmer suspension. It might mean it'll be slightly firmer, but overall it's still going to be a relatively soft suspension. And you all probably know what it's like when you load a truck with very soft suspension up with a bunch of heavy stuff and you start hitting bumps. It's going to create kind of that soft suspension bouncing effect that you get whenever you're hauling something heavy in the back of a truck that has a relatively soft suspension. All right, but let's go back to the numbers. 750 pounds worth of cargo capacity are remaining after you've put your conservatively loaded trailer behind your truck. Now let's factor in people. Now keep in mind, I don't know specifically how many folks you have in your family or how many people you take along with you or what you load up when you go on a trip. But the average family is a family of 4 that buys an RV. And typically a family of 4 is going to weigh between 500 and 750 to 800 pounds. Now that is including a broad range of factors. Most of the times the manufacturers will factor in adults weighing 150 pounds, and that's how they arrive at that magical 500 pound weight that a family of 4 typically would add to a truck. But I think in most cases, a family of 4 typically weighs closer to 700 pounds, not 500 pounds. So now that you've added the typical family of 4 to the pickup truck's cargo, you now leave your truck with 50 pounds worth of cargo capacity. Now that cargo capacity is easily going to be taken up with just the weight of the weight distribution hitch itself. A weight distribution hitch does not remove weight from the truck. It simply transfers the weight from the back axle to the front axle of the truck and from the front of a trailer to the back of the trailer. It is not designed to say all of a sudden we've eliminated 100 pounds or 200 or 300 pounds worth of weight from the truck itself. So just keep that in mind. Weight distribution hitches are designed to simply distribute weight, not to get rid of it. So now we have a weight distribution hitch that generally weighs between, let's just say 65 pounds for a really lightweight Anderson hitch, all the way up to about 120 pounds for your heavier Equalizer or Reese or Blue Ox hitches, where they're much, much heavier because they have trunnion arms on them. So any of those hitches are going to instantly put you over your truck's maximum payload capacity. Now, let's take other factors into account, such as what are you putting in the bed of your truck when you travel? Very few people tow a travel trailer and keep the bed of their truck completely empty. Oftentimes you can expect things like bicycles, you can expect things like small power toys, even some large power toys. You can expect things like generators, supplies, water, all sorts of supplies generally will go in the bed of the truck. On average, it's usually going to be an additional 200 pounds worth of supplies that rest in the bed of the truck. Sometimes it's much, much more than that, and sometimes it's a little bit less than that. But 200 pounds is usually the average of what you can expect that most people will put in the bed of their truck when they're traveling. On top of that, most people bring about 50 pounds worth of supplies with them in the truck when they go. All sorts of things, from bags to extra supplies to maybe a baby carrier, other things that are in the vehicle. So now let's just factor in 250 pounds on top of the payload that you've already loaded in the truck. So remember, with just the people and the weight of the actual trailer, you are 50 pounds shy of the maximum payload capacity of this truck, which has 1,800 pounds worth of payload capacity. With all the other stuff that's been added, the weight distribution hitch, the stuff in the bed of the truck, and the stuff in the cab of the truck, you're talking generally an additional 250 to 350 pounds more than your payload capacity. So now you're actually pushing closer to what, 2,050, 2,100 pounds worth of payload in the back of a truck that's designed to carry up to 1,800 pounds. Now here's the big twist. Remember what I said at the beginning, where most half-ton trucks don't have an 1,800 pound cargo capacity. A lot do, but most don't. And whenever you factor in that most trucks are gonna have usually between probably 1,300 to 1,600 pounds worth of cargo capacity, you're now talking about a truck that's upwards of 500 pounds over what its maximum payload capacity is. That is the answer to the question that I get in the comments so often. When I say I recommend a 3/4 ton truck, sometimes I recommend a 3/4 ton with a gas engine to give you back additional payload by removing the weight of the diesel engine. Sometimes I'll recommend a 1 ton single rear wheel truck because I believe the trailer just transfers that much weight to the actual bed of the truck or to the actual bumper of the truck. When I talk about half-ton trucks, it's not that I have anything against them. It's simply to help you understand where your limits might be. And the question is the same every time. If my truck is rated to tow 12,000 pounds, why are you telling me I should only tow up to a 6,000 pound trailer? Because once you load up a 6,000 pound trailer with everything you're gonna carry, once you load up the truck with everything that's inside of it, including people, the stuff that's going in the bed, supplies, and the weight distribution hitch, you're likely gonna be at about 1,500 to 1,600 pounds worth of payload on a truck that generally has roughly 1,300 to 1,600 pounds worth of payload capacity. The towing number of your truck means very little if you're unable to manipulate where the weight goes on that trailer. That's why things like flat utility trailers and cargo trailers give you more flexibility, and you can generally go to a higher number because you can position the cargo that you're carrying on or in the trailer in a different manner, so you can set the tongue weight to where it needs to be to most safely and effectively tow whatever you're planning on towing. Anyways, guys, again, I beat this topic to death, but I think it's one worth beating to death. I hope this has been informative, especially for those folks that ask that question every time. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.